Well, we had a super move in SuperMicro today, closing, let's see, more than 18% higher, hitting a 52-week high after being selected to join the S&P 500. Safe to say some shorts got hurt. Joining us now is Matt Bryson from Wedbush. Matt, this company, this stock gets talked about a lot as being out of control. But to set the table a little bit, I talked to Charles Liang about 6 months ago about what his vision is, this idea that you vertically integrate in the data center, you pay attention to liquid cooling in the AI era when things are going to run so hot. Could it be that this is an iPhone versus Android, SuperMicro versus the traditional players situation?
If they get liquid cooling right, it might be. The problem is right now liquid cooling isn't really utilized. I don't think it's so much a 2024 technology as maybe a 2025 or 2026 technology. But that's the question is, can SuperMicro figure out some sort of differentiator so they look like Apple iOS? Or they look like Microsoft Windows versus historically servers look more like PCs, right? You can buy a Dell, you can buy an HP. At the end of the day, you're buying a PC.
Yeah, and so that's when I go to the market cap question, right? So if you just look at the market cap, SuperMicro is now around 50, 60 billion. Dell's in the 80 billion range. What would it take for a company like this to be worth 100 billion market cap? What kind of margins would they have to have, or sales would they have to have in order for that to be reasonable?
Yeah, I think that two things have to happen. One, they have to show that the gross margins are sustainable over time, right? That they are currently where they've been historically, but certainly there's a question that with the much higher prices that are being paid for these AI servers, a lot of which is attributable to NVIDIA at this point, can you maintain the same margins that you've been getting on standard servers? And then it comes down to how big is the market? And obviously there are numbers all over the place out there. And can SuperMicro control 60%? And I think a lot of that comes back to with the 60% or 70% number, can they differentiate themselves again? And then with the growth number, there's no problem in Q1. There certainly doesn't look to be a problem in Q2. It's more getting back to like AMD suggesting there's a $400 billion TAM for AI accelerators.
Right.
It's do we start to get to those numbers?
So is there also a storage and networking further opportunity for SuperMicro beyond compute? Do you have a sense of that?
Yeah, I think that's harder for me to see. So historically, storage, there's a whole lot of investment in software in storage. With networking, again, there's a ton of investment, particularly around the software for the networking side of things. And so when you look at companies like Cisco, like EMC historically, or NetApp, or Pure Storage, they spend a lot of their revenue on R&D, and SuperMicro is just not structured that way. Certainly their R&D spend has gone up substantially, but still in the low single digits, which in my mind isn't enough to get them into those markets.